Well, it is 7:02. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting for Thursday, October 11th, 2018. Our first item, we have a request for police detail at no charge for the tree lighting on December 2nd. Meg O'Leary.
Hello.
Hello.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Parks and Rec approved a tree lighting at the Common for Sunday, December 2nd at 5 p.m. As you might know from past experience, it's a very sort of full event. We don't charge for it. It's not a fundraiser. It's not just for trust members, it's for the whole town. So we were hoping, as in past years, the selectmen would agree to have the town take care of the police detail at no charge.
Did you make a request like that of the Parks and Rec? Because to me, that's a Parks and Recs kind of question.
For them to cover the, they told me to bring that piece to the selectmen. They approved the.
Okay, so basically, you did bring it to them. Okay.
Yeah, I did. They approved the date, but not the. I guess they couldn't waive the detail, or waive the fee for the detail.
No, we actually didn't pay for the detail last year, when Dan came in. We didn't approve that. So, and I know we had a discussion, and unfortunately, the selectmen meeting was not recorded on September 8th, when I think you had come in asking for the same for a bonfire. I really don't think that, like any nonprofit, if they have an event that comes into town, they have a requirement if a police detail is needed, they take care of the police detail. I can't see why we need to make an exception for the trust.
So what was the expense? You know,
It's a 4-hour minimum. I think last time we had 2 police officers, if I remember right. So at $45 an hour for a town detail times 4 is 180, times 2 is 360. I don't think it takes 3 officers, but assume a minimum of $360. Is that right? Yeah.
I can't guarantee that we'll do the tree lighting. I'd have to. Our coffers are not deep at the moment. I did not know that it wasn't paid for last year. It has been in past years. It's not a fundraiser, but.
Well, I know when you came in on this 2016, September, when we actually never really took it up, so shame on us, that we would revisit this at a later time. Because I recall having a discussion that we allowed it then, but the argument still stays the same. It's, you're a nonprofit, and, we should treat all nonprofits equally and not make an exception. And I feel that way today.
So we have nonprofits from outside of town, and then we have nonprofits in town.
I see no difference in this distinction. Nonprofit's a nonprofit. Or anybody who wants to do an event. They pay for the police detail.
Yeah, I kind of see it the same way. What's the difference if it's a not-for-profit in town or out of town? Are you proposing to give all town nonprofits a free police detail?
Well, just if you think about Bolton Conservation Trust and what they've done for our quality of life, that's very different than, maybe another nonprofit that is using the common, and, the benefits aren't so local. So,
It's not an event for our membership. It's an event for every resident in town. And
Right, but the value that any event or any not-for-profit organization is worth to the town is going to vary individual by individual. So unless you're going to set some standard that only the Conservation Trust can meet, then you're making a capricious and whimsical decision.
To me, this seems like it's a joint. The Bolton Conservation Trust started out as the owners, caretakers of the property, but Then it was transferred to the town. So this really seems to me like it's Bolton Conservation Trust with Parks and Recreation. It would be good if one member of
Let
Parks and
Parks-
Rec came to the meeting, but, so this is.
Let Parks and Rec pay for it out of their budget. If there's a partnership there, let Parks and Recs do that.
I mean, I recall recently that there was some concert series, and we learned after the fact that a rain date was for a weekday evening, 5 o'clock during rush hour. And I believe it was communicated to Parks and Rec if the police deemed it was necessary to have a police detail, then it was on Park and Rec to find a way to fund that police detail.
That's true.
Yep.
That's true. We ended up not needing one.
Right.
So who makes that determination about needing a police detail?
The chief of police.
Okay.
And I think the past minutes reflect that the chief feels that we do need a police detail for the tree lighting. I think we've always had, in fact, I know we've always, because I've gone to all of them, and we've always had a police detail.
Yeah.
Here I stayed about 20 minutes because it was about 40 below.
But I can circle back with Parks and Rec and see what's possible.
Okay. I mean, I also think, you know, it would be great to ask the Bolton Police Department if this, I know they do volunteer work, but if there's some aspect, you know, whether they can make, you know, this one of the things that they do to give back to the community.
I would want it to be clear, though, that that's coming from an individual on the Board of Selectmen, and that's not a request of the Board of Selectmen.
It's just an idea.
I'm not taking it as an idea from, that the selectmen sent me that way, just so I understand the community service and proportion of that. All right.
But thanks for putting on. It is a great event. A lot of people go. I think in other towns, the town does pay for police details for things like this.
Could you cite that, instead of just making a general statement like that? Could you cite an example?
Bob, I could send you examples of.
I'm asking the chairman who made the statement.
Yeah, now I'm going on a hunch, but I see what our neighboring towns do for the holidays. They put a lot of effort into it, and I have to assume towns like Stowe and Harvard, when they have events, that they, you know, they're covering it as part of their budget and not, you know, expecting nonprofits to pay for it.
Well, I'm assuming if it's town sponsored, then of course. you
It's
know,
part of their budget.
It's part of their budget. You know, if the town of Bolton was sponsoring, doing the tree line, then of course we would be responsible for the
Right.
police detail. But that's not the case here.
Well, Parks and Rec is part of the town.
No, it's not Park and Rec that's doing the tree lighting. It's,
Well, we're in this transitional period where, you know, we've taken ownership. Traditions have started with the Bolton Conservation Trust, but they might be something that the town takes on. So,
when
you know,
that
like the
happens-
Halloween march, you know, things like that. I don't know who's paying. That's coming out of the Parks and Rec budget. When we do the Halloween parade and they shut down Main Street, who's covering that?
If we're able to cover it with duty officers, then we cover it with duty officers. Otherwise, I believe it would be paid for by Parks and Rec, because the police department doesn't pay for it. I mean, it doesn't come out of the police department wage line, and the officers don't work for free, they get paid. So it would either be Parks and Rec or Little League or whoever the organization is that's putting on the event.
So maybe this activity could be performed as part of the regular schedule, and we don't have to hire extra officers, but it can just be the officers on duty.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to count on that.
Well, the chief would have considered that, and he says we need a detail, right?
Right. Well, no, he is always required a detail.
That's separate from having a duty officer available.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
So lots of ideas. Hopefully we can get this solved, but,
I appreciate the principle that you're coming from. I just, we'll need to talk to Parks and Rec and see if there's a way maybe we transition this in the future. 'Cause it is meant to be a town activity, not a trust
Mhm.
activity, and the trust people are just volunteers getting it done.
right,
But I understand the principle, so.
that's a great event.
All right.
Thank you for coming out in the rain.
All right.
Next, we have a request to release Chapter 61A property owned by Mr. Paul Zeka located on Green Road, Assessor's Map as parcel 034-000-0018-1, period 1. Attached, Conservation Commission comments will be recorded this afternoon or tomorrow morning.
Right,
you
and
have
I
those?
do have them, and there is a copy for each one of you. They have stated that they're not interested, but they just have a little note at the bottom.
So, the concert. So we have a note saying, not interested in, it's a first refusal. And although the property preserves historic view shed and abuts a property under a conservation restriction, the commission would hope any residential use would be mindful of those characteristics.
And the board also received no interest from Planning Board and the Board of Assessors.
Okay.
So we're just here to
To vote to release, to formally vote to not pursue the right of first refusal.
correct.
Any comments?
Nope, I'll make a motion that we do not pursue our right of first refusal and pass over this particular piece of property.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next, we have request for,
I'll
All set.
Thank you.
I'll write it, I'll do a letter that I'll send out to you.
All right, thank you, Linda.
That officially takes it out of 61A or allows us to do that.
You should check with Cynthia now with the assessor's office. I don't know what they need to do in regards to that.
Very good.
Thank you.
But the board voted not to exercise their right,
Okay,
so,
thank you.
okay.
we have a request for approval of marketing sign, of a marketing sign for the Tadmore development on Main Street. George Gallagher, are you here?
That's me, yep.
Please come.
I have some presentation boards if you'd like to look at them.
Sure.
Seeing them.
Audiovisual.
So I'm George Gallagher from Habitat Communities, and we're developing Tadmore off of Main Street. And we typically do a marketing sign at the beginning of our developments. And this is sort of the typical thing we've done. We've done a lot of developments in like Foxborough and Stowe. We did the villages at Stowe. Let's see. So this is sort of a typical marketing sign that we have, and I also have the location that we were proposing for it. So this is the sign, this is the marketing sign we're looking for. This is the dimensions of it, and it's on white PVC poles, which would be inserted into the ground about 3 feet. And we originally had proposed doing a two-sided sign, but then we kind of determined that that really wasn't going to work. It was going to kind of get in the way of sight distances and getting in and out of the subdivision. So what we've done is we've proposed a location. If you look at, this is sort of Main Street, this is the entrance to the development, and this is kind of the area that we're proposing to sign. We're figuring most of the people that are coming this, this way are eventually gonna come this way, so that, everybody will get a view of it. We are gonna do some, there is gonna be some entry walls here and some landscaping, but this is the general area where we're proposing it.
So the sign would be facing the lower left corner of that poster board?
Yeah, it would sort of be facing this way.
Okay.
Correct. And we figure that it's probably, it's probably like a 2-year build-out, so it would be there for approximately that amount of time.
Compared to where the stones are now, how far back from the edge of the stones is that sign located?
Well, it could really be, I think the idea was sort of anywhere in this area, if the board, wished it to be further back.
Okay. Well, we're looking at an 8-foot wide sign, and that seems big by our standards, so I'm just wondering how far recessed from the road it's going to be. I can't really determine that from any scale that I see on there right now.
Yeah, so I think what it is what we would want to do is we want to make sure it was far enough back so that when you came out to the edge of Main Street, it wouldn't inhibit a view either way.
Well, I'll agree, that would be pretty far back, but okay.
But I think if you were coming down Main Street, you'd still be able to see
Yeah,
this.
you'd be coming out of the turn and you'd be able to see that.
No, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I just wish we could determine how far back, again, from the road it's going to be. I can see, I imagine 117 there, but again, there's no scale on there for me to see how many feet. I mean, those 3 bushes that are grouped there, are each of those circles supposed to be 2 feet diameter, or is there some other way for me to determine scale?
No, yeah, and what I had the guy do is I had him blow it up.
Yeah. Okay.
So you could kind of get an idea of where it was.
Well, the road at the narrowest point might be like 20 to 25 feet wide.
Yeah, but the road's at the bottom. Oh, you mean the road end?
Yeah.
What's your concern, Bob?
Just that it's going to be a big sign. It's 4 feet by 8 feet. It's the sign of a sheet of plywood. And I think it's a big sign to put close to the road.
I think it's bigger than 4, isn't it? It's 120 by...
No, it's 96 by 48.
Yeah, 48.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's the
It's gonna be
post.
on posts, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, I'm sure they'll put it far enough back so, it's not going to impede line of sight with anything on 117.
Okay.
Until they start selling the houses, it's going to have any impact on people coming in and out. So
Just an aside question, how many bedrooms? How many square feet are these houses?
They're like 37, 36 to 3,800. I think the first one we're looking at is 37 and change. 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, and 3-car garages.
I like the dragonfly.
Yeah, no, it's a nicely designed visual.
Yeah, so that's the logo to the development.
yeah, it's nice. Okay, if there's no other comment, I'll make a motion that we approve the request for a marketing sign for the Tadmore development on Main Street.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have another request for approval of a real estate sign at the corner of Sawyer and West Berlin Road for a home at 280 Sawyer Road. We have Joel Cody.
Yep, that's me.
Hi, Joel.
So I'm building the house on 280 Sawyer Road. The problem I'm having is half the people that I give the address to, I usually give the address next door because my address is too new, are getting lost. For some reason, GPS is sending them all over the place. And it's kind of off the beaten path down there. So I'm having a hard time getting traffic down there as far as selling it goes. I'm afraid I'm losing customers, so I just want to put a sign on the corner of West Berlin and Sawyer. But this is just my real, I brought it as an example, something like this, just with an arrow pointing down the street, so, because I know people are driving by, because every contractor that I give the address to, and they put in their GPS, they're like, yeah, I drove right by Sawyer Road, right down West Berlin, I'm down by Peach Hill Farm, and Peach Hill in Berlin. If I put the GPS in my truck, it takes me right to it. Some GPSs, more than half, they're sending them all over the place, so I'm just afraid I'm losing.
I've got the same issue on my street.
So I have an open house this weekend, I don't want people driving by, I just want to be able to make sure I'm getting whatever customers are down there, because I'm having a hard time getting traffic down there, because, I mean, I was working there all day today, there was 2 cars there.
This would be one sign, the dimensions of the one you brought in?
I'll put whatever dimension you tell me to do, but this is what my realtor had, so I just gave,
Yeah,
I
looks
just,
like-
you know, I just
I'm
grabbed,
fine with that.
12
Okay.
by
Yeah.
24.
yep, so,
That's fine.
no problem.
But
No.
we usually have real estate agents putting up signs for open houses. but
Yeah.
Coming to us.
I thought on the bylaw it said it has to be on my property though, on my property,
Okay.
no one's driving by this house, I mean, it's like, I mean, I was down there all day, all I see is a school bus, that's it.
But I'm seeing open house signs
Yeah.
that aren't on people's property.
Well, according to the bylaw, it's not supposed to do that, right?
Okay.
Right, so I'm just trying to stick by the rules.
Okay, no, appreciate
So how
that.
long would it be up?
I mean, I'd like to keep it there as long as I can, as long as, you know, until I sell it, really. Especially unless you tell me you only do it when I have open houses, like I do this Sunday, but I mean,
Where are you in the process?
the landscaping's done, really looks nice outside, and that's why I'm aggravated, because it looks so nice down there, and I keep on saying to my realtor, we just gotta get someone to come down here, we can't get anyone to come down here.
So the house is built, you're doing the landscaping?
The finishes, I'm a finished carpenter, the finishes are being done inside right
Okay.
now.
All right, so,
So maybe we try 6 weeks?
Yeah, I'm hoping I'm done by November, you know, I mean, I'm hoping I'm sold by November, I mean, by Thanksgiving, I really hope I'm sold by Thanksgiving.
Well, why don't we just say through December 1st? and-
yeah, I'm fine with that.
You know,
Okay.
if you want it longer, just come back in real quick and,
Okay,
no
Okay,
problem. So, I will make a motion that we approve the real estate sign at the corner of Sawyer and West Berlin Road for home at 280 Sawyer Road, and we can have it up through December 1st, and you can come back for renewal if it's necessary.
thank you very much.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Oh, second, yeah, all those in favor say aye.
Okay.
Hey, good luck.
Thank you very much.
We have a request for a one-day beer and wine license on October 27, 2018, from 10 to 5 for the Taste of the Maize event with Shartner Farms and the Neshoba Winery at 211 West Berlin Road,
279 to be exact.
279.
It's full of as a residential address, the farm address is 279, sorry.
It's all right.
But does mail get delivered to the barn?
It can get delivered at any 3 locations, actually 4 locations at 4 addresses, 209,
Wow.
211, 212, and 279.
All right.
So is this how many times have you held this?
It's number 7.
Number 7?
Yeah, this is number 7. Should be number 8, but we got snowed out one year.
Yeah.
It's always been a good event, we've never had any problems with it.
We changed it up this year, we're still bringing in the same amount of people, but we sold tickets by the hour versus general admission. You know, we're 11 o'clock in the morning, we'd have hundreds of people show up. Now it's gonna be, I think it's down to less than 200 per hour.
Hmm.
Yeah, Maze is getting a lot of publicity.
Yeah.
I was in upstate New York and they'd heard about it.
Yeah.
So, it's good.
What's the maze look like this year? What's the pattern?
It's got a football player up to number 12 in it that says go. It's got a trophy that looks like a football trophy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I saw that, yeah.
Great.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve a one-day beer and wine license at 279 West Berlin Road on October 27, 2018, from 10 to 5.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Oh, Eric, maybe for next year, because I had noticed
Signs.
signs.
It dawned on me when I was listening to the,
Yeah,
So people look
ne-
for-
next year, could you just
Absolutely.
come in and just,
we'll start in the spring.
okay, thanks.
So-
We appreciate it.
Signs for this event or signs for the maze?
For the farm
To
itself.
the farm itself,
Yeah,
yeah.
I just have temporary ones I throw out and put. bring them
Yeah,
in.
there's one at like at the common you have.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that one.
You're getting off lightly.
Well, we know where you live,
I
Eric.
just changed the address there.
We know where you
guys
live.
can sign that.
Yeah, I'm
Did you bring your checkbook?
No, actually, I didn't.
Oh.
Motion to reconsider.
I said 16 days.
How much is
Yeah.
that license?
The town administrator takes
Oh,
cash.
$25.
Is there interest on that? All right,
All
thank
right,
you.
so you'll
Have a
come in
good
and
one.
get it at some point.
Yeah,
Okay, sounds good. All right,
thanks.
thanks.
Be great to get a percentage of that. $25. Dawn, can you give us the town administrator's report?
If you insist. First update on Minuteman, there's nothing new on the project itself, but there was an article in this week's Independent that I wanted to share with the board and for anybody who may be watching. Minuteman High School has been named a 2018 National Blue Ribbon School by the U.S. Department of Education. The announcement of all 349 public and private school honorees was made on October 1st, 2018 by U.S. Secretary of Education Betsy DeVoe. Abington High School and Swampscott High School are the other Massachusetts schools that earned this recognition. Minuteman is the sole vocational high school in the state to be accorded this award. This is an incredible recognition of the work of my staff and administrators, said Minuteman Superintendent Dr. Edward A. Boquillan. I hope this accolade causes parents to take notice of Minuteman and how our model of learning and teaching can give their children a real advantage in high school and college and in their careers. According to a U.S. Department of Education press release, National Blue Ribbon Schools earned that designation by excelling in one of two performance categories, either as exemplary high-performing schools or exemplary achievement gap closing schools, which are among their state's highest performing schools in closing achievement gaps between the school's student groups and all students over the past 5 years. All three National Blue Ribbon schools from Massachusetts, including Minuteman, were cited for being exemplary achievement gap closing schools. Secretary DeVoe lauded the award-winning schools in a video message saying, "I'm pleased to celebrate with you as your school is named the National Blue Ribbon School. We've recognized and honor your important work in preparing students for successful careers and meaningful lives. Congratulations on your students' accomplishments and for your extraordinary commitment to meeting their unique needs." An awards ceremony will be held in D.C. in November, etc. Minuteman has previously been acknowledged for academic excellence and for significantly closing achievement gaps. Just a few months ago, on April 5th, 2018, Minuteman was named a Massachusetts Commendation School by the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education for being outstanding in those two categories. Governor Charles D. Baker presented Dr. Boquillan with a plaque honoring the school at a State House ceremony. Minuteman is 9 months away from moving into a new $145 million facility that has been designed to support a robust college and career academy model. The academy model was adopted by staff and administration to create smaller schools within a school, thereby promoting more personalized learning founded upon close relationships between students and teachers. The Minuteman College and Career Academy model integrates rigorous academics with relevant technical programming. So there's really good things going on over there.
Excellent.
And a new facility, I would assume, can only help. Update on the portico project, as I indicated in an email last week, I sent out the notice to proceed to the contractor last Thursday. Last Friday, they were here with a lift, checking out the front of the building, deciding how they wanted to approach their start. They're going to be here again tomorrow to do a little bit more work such as that, and the project itself will start in no more than 2 weeks.
So they're gonna like fence off the whole.
We'll be noticing, we'll get an announcement out to the public, to the employees, in every way we can, the town hall Facebook page and news and announcements, and we'll alert the media and to the scores of
So
people.
alerted.
Yeah. But yeah, it'll be fenced off, yeah, so there'll be no parking up front during the project.
So do we ask the church next door if we can use their lot, or that's?
We have pretty much a standing okay from them. They've been very, very generous. On days that are really busy, we do flow into their parking lot a bit. On days that are busy over there, they kind of flow over to ours, and I've never had any complaints from that. And and Reverend Jones has never complained, so,
But we'll let him know.
yeah, yes, definitely. Okay, update on the Fire Chief Screening Committee. The committee had its initial meeting last Tuesday, and we're meeting again next Tuesday. The agenda is set and published. For the remainder of these meetings, they are held in executive session because we're discussing individual applicants, who to bring in, who not to. And until somebody becomes a finalist, they have an expectation of privacy, of confidentiality. So when we get to finalists, all finalists are interviewed in open session. But when the selection committee does its work, all that work is done in executive session. That's an important point that not everyone is aware of.
Who are the officers of the committee?
The officers?
Yeah, who's chairman?
Oh, I'm sorry,
secretary?
John Petron is the chair, and by acclamation. And we went with a rotating secretary.
Okay.
So the secretary will take minutes of the meeting, and in the absence of the chair, will run the meeting. And so Stan and myself were both backed out of that, so it'll be rotating amongst the remaining individuals.
Okay.
Who's on the committee?
It was in the Independent
It
in
was?
the last edition.
Okay, I guess I must have
Let's
been
see if
waked
I-
up.
See if I can do this again. So we have Stan Wysocki as the Selectmen's representative, myself, Chief Nelson, Marty Diaz, John Petron as a resident. We have Michael Murphy from Murphy Insurance as a business owner, and we have retired Lancaster Fire Chief Kevin Lamb.
Thank you.
And I think we're going to be able to get through this pretty quickly. I really do.
How many applicants do you have
We
so
had
far?
18 applicants. One, I believe, has already accepted a position elsewhere. So I believe we're at 17. And we'll be going through the exercise next Tuesday to decide which ones will be called in for an interview. And then hopefully, unless it's a large number, we hope to get the interviews done in one session as well.
Oh, okay.
Okay, update on moving the Board of Selectmen's meetings to the Public Safety Building. Earlier today, I sent an email out to each of you. If you haven't seen it or haven't had time to read it, I believe Linda has copies, if anyone who needs one. But I'm gonna work off that document anyway. As I said in the email, I'm hoping to wrap this up at the next meeting. I've got some additional work to do, but so far, the training room is used on Mondays for the cadet EMT training, Tuesdays by the fire department for training, and Thursdays by the ambulance squad for training. I'm working with Marty Diaz to determine whether or not their trainings could be moved to another part of the building on the nights when there is a Board of Selectmen's meeting. I'm going to be having another discussion with her about that, so we haven't tied that off yet, but I hope to be able to give you a final answer on that on the 25th. As I note, of course, one option could be to move the Selectmen's meetings to Wednesday nights. I know it's always been a Bolton tradition to have them on Thursday nights, and Wednesday nights there are other boards that meet, so that could be problematic for you. The training room is not currently wired for cable broadcasting. I've reached out to Ken Troop and asked him for a rough estimate as to what the cost would be to support live broadcasts. Ken's working on that, and I expect to have an answer on that by the 25th. And also the question of who would end up ultimately paying for that work, whether the expectation would be backhoe out of their funds or the town out of some number of funds. So that would be an open issue. Access to the meeting room is not an issue. On a night when the selectmen are meeting, there is a way that the lock on the lobby door could be unlocked. And then once the meeting is over, the lock would be enabled again. So that would not be a showstopper. Parking is an issue. The parking lot on the left side of the building has 15 spaces plus 3 handicap spaces. The rear of the building is restricted to, the parking in the rear of the building is restricted to public safety building personnel. I've been advised by all 3 department heads that no parking should be allowed on the right side of the building, in the event that there's a fire call and/or ambulance call, which is where the personnel park their vehicles. Bob had the idea of suggesting that we take a look at utilizing the parking lot at the library and having a path run from the library to the public safety building lot. We're working on looking at issues on how we would deal with that. And I haven't quite closed the loop on that yet. Parking at the church across the street would be another option, which was the option I had in mind. I hadn't actually considered the library until Bob mentioned it. I have not approached the church yet. I'd be happy to do that, but I thought up to this point it was a little premature to do that, but I could do that in the next 2 weeks. Chief Nelson did express some concern relative to the safety of people who would utilize a path from the library if one is created, noting that there are times when vehicles are going in and out of the parking lot, especially out of the parking lot at a high rate of speed, with people walking across the lot. There could be a risk factor there. As I concluded in my email, I haven't yet encountered any obstacles that can't be addressed by money, other than a potential conflict with the ambulance training nights, and seeing if we can sort something like that out. And I hope to have that resolved with a recommendation by the next meeting. So this is the ground I've been able to cover up to this point.
Okay, thank you.
If any of you have any questions on that.
Well, I'd like to point out that, I think it was 2 weeks ago, the Zoning Board of Appeals had a meeting in the Houghton Building, and all the seats were taken and people had to stand in the halls. So it's not just a Board of Selectmen issue about having sufficient space for people to come in. That meeting room in the Public Safety Building is by far the best meeting room available in public in town. And the parking that you mentioned just on the left side, that alone exceeds what's available at the Houghton Building. I'm sure we could work out some issue on using the additional parking at the library one way or the other. But when that building was put up, it was not designed to be solely for the use of the public safety units, and I really think the people of Bolton should have the opportunity to take advantage of that building for more of its public life, civic life.
So as I said, I hope to be able to bring you all the information that you need to the next meeting. You can make whatever decision you like.
That's fine, and I'll reserve my full comment then, but I still, I hear what you say, Bob. You're searching for an answer, which you haven't really defined the problem. Look, tonight, there's nobody here. If we have a meeting, or if the zoning board of appeals has a meeting where they think there's going to be a large crowd, they can move it to a conference room that will accommodate that.
Well, actually, they couldn't. Actually, the ZBA couldn't. Where could they move it to?
They could go to the public safety building if they wanted to, schedule their meeting, just as we might schedule something in the public safety building, or we might move to the Houghton building. So, but I mean, there are issues of traffic, there are issues of parking, and there's issues of cost. I can't see, for the few times that we're gonna need a meeting room larger than this, that we're gonna spend money, because I can't really see Batco paying to wire the public safety building because we wanna have live recordings. I can't see spending money on creating a path and then maintaining that path. And the parking is just as bad there as it is at the Houghton building. So, for the few times we need a larger venue, then we move it to a larger venue.
Well, one question I have on doing that is, once you publish your agenda, can you change the venue?
You can. It would be better, like, for example, I'll use the ZBA for example. When they were dealing with another controversial issue in town, which I won't go back over again, they had meetings at the library because they expected to have a large crowd. I suspect that maybe the crowd they got at the Houghton building, maybe they weren't expecting that large a crowd and they got caught by surprise, I don't know, or perhaps the meeting room wasn't available at the library, I don't know the specifics. But what you can do, and it's legal, is we could post a meeting for here, and we realize day before, you can even do it the day of, but you're really rolling the dice. You know, we're gonna get a bigger crowd than we expect. We could put a sign out here that says, meeting relocated to library, Houghton Building, public safety building, whatever, and that's totally legal, because we are noticing people that the meeting has been changed and where it's been moved to.
Okay, so then the issue is one of, in short notice, that another room is probably already taken.
You do run that risk, absolutely.
So
You do.
I would argue that the Selectmen is a retail operation to some extent. And if you want people to come in and see what you're doing, you need to have an inviting space that's easy to get to. And I think both this space and the Houghton building fall down in different areas of that. I think the public safety building is a better solution, and I believe it'd be better for the town if we were to move our meetings there. I believe if we moved our meetings there, other committees would follow. It's just no other committee has, the purview, the scope, in order to take on all the issues that we're discussing here tonight, except the Selectmen. So if it's going to happen, it has to be the Selectmen that make the move, or at least make the move possible. That's why we've got to be the leaders on this particular issue.
What do you mean other boards and committees? The backhoe's not gonna record any of those other meetings. They're gonna plop a camera in the room just like they do.
I haven't.
So I don't buy that argument, Bob, I really don't.
Okay, but
I think
wait,
the
I
most
haven't
important.
said, I haven't said, let me address your issue. I haven't said that recording or televising the issue is the big constraint.
I don't see what any constraint is for any board or committee who wants to have a larger space to go use the room. That doesn't mean, I can't see anything that has constrained anybody else from wanting to use that facility. And I think we continue to miss the most important point, is that there have been more than one occasion where Linda has needed something for us to continue a meeting, and now, just like we had the issue at the Houghton building, and that's why we moved it back, one of the reasons why we moved it back here, is that if Linda needs something, her files are upstairs, and she doesn't have access to them.
Okay.
And I think we need to also consider these two folks as well.
All right, so you've been a selectman for 14 years, right?
Yes, I have.
So let's say that's 20 meetings a year. So that's what, 280 meetings you've been a selectman for? Has there been a problem with paperwork for 100 of those meetings?
No, but
50?
doesn't matter. Even if there's a problem with one, there's been more than one.
It's usually been around like budget season and the warrant, right? That's what I would say. That's where the issues come up. So I've suggested that we invest in a small printer, because usually it's related to, my experience, short experience, it's related to printing out new documents in the moment.
Yeah, I actually already spoke with CM Geeks about that and options for that, so.
I know they're like $80 for like a tiny little cartridge printer. I mean, I look at Linda's face, I don't think she really wants to be in the middle of this argument.
Thank you, John.
Well, let Don finish his research and see what he comes back with. I also don't think that we should be inconveniencing the ambulance squad if where they have to move is not optimal either. I don't think that's fair either.
I think we need to understand that better before we can make that declaration.
And I do have a meeting scheduled with Murray. And lastly, but certainly not least, tomorrow is the event many people wait for, which is the monthly coffee with the town administrator.
Yay!
They're lining up, they're camping out.
Yeah, they're tailgating over there right now. 8:30 to 9:30 tomorrow morning at the Bolton Bean. We had 6 people last month, 7 is the record, and I'm hoping to hit double digits before the end of the year. And with that, unless the board has any questions, that's all I have.
You're gonna have to put one of those, you're gonna have to come before us and ask for a sign that you can put in front of Bolton Beans.
Well, yeah, that would be great, town administrator hours.
They actually put a sign up inside. They have an A-frame that they put out with, town administrator with a narrow frame.
That's good, because
They don't,
Bolton is growing, there are a lot of new people who don't know Don.
Yeah, I've met new people over there. Yeah, I mean,
That's
people
good.
that I didn't know, absolutely.
That's funny.
It's amazing how busy that parking lot is.
It really is.
So lastly, we have the Board of Selectmen business. We have a recommendation to appoint Ed Bazile as the Board of Appeals Associate Member.
I'm assuming we advertise, okay?
Yes, we have.
And I'll move that we appoint Ed Bazile to the Board of Appeals as an associate member.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any against? And we have a recommendation to appoint Tina Higgins to the Economic Development Committee.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any against? No. Execute the warrant for 2018 state election. So
Yeah, you can take it.
that will be
Oh, yes,
on
I-
Tuesday, the 6th day of November,
Yeah.
from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And that's, wow. Great.
Yes.
Do you have a motion?
Motion to execute the warrant for the 2018 state election.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And approve bills, payroll warrants W19-08 and W19-08A.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any against? And we have
We
minutes.
do not have minutes,
Okay.
hopefully for next meeting.
Are you waiting for
No, I'm
some
not,
of
you're
us?
waiting for me.
Okay.
Such a pleasant change of pace.
It's really,
It doesn't happen very often. I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yep.
These minutes will reflect that, right?
Yes, they will.
Stan?
And since Ken Cleveland's not here, we can't go into executive session.
Yeah.
It's not on the agenda.
That's
why.
another reason.
Mhm.
No public safety announcement? Or public service announcement?
Now we can save those for the next meeting.
Mhm. All right, let's see, yeah, so you're gonna show.
There's no line on the board, so we can't talk about it.
Technically, since I read from this, you should have
Yes,
this as
thank
part of
you.
the minutes.
I asked before,
wow.
there's a copy of this for each of you. John, this is that Austin Region Metropolitan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for the next meeting, we'll have to, one of the agenda items will be to appoint the contact person for this year. Thank you.
I have copies, is that's,
Yeah, they have to be posted in
5 different locations.
5
you can
different
fill out the
locations.
dates.
Yes, I will. Yep.
Post office is one, right?
Mhm. See, sure.
Okay,
Good
now-
night.
You too.
We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.